Hey guys, so today we're going to be going over our week 2 trading recaps. Unfortunately, we only took 2 trades throughout this week. There was a lot of days that were either choppy or just there weren't any A plus setups, so I didn't want to go ahead and take any. Unfortunately, on the first trade, we went ahead and lost that one, so it did put us down about $39. Not a big loss, but still a loss. Luckily, the second day we made enough back to where we ended off the week profitable, but as far as week 2, let's go ahead and jump right into it so we don't waste any time. All right, so for this trade, I went ahead and traded Palantir. So first and foremost, we went ahead and set out our range, and what we're looking for is either going to be a break above or a break below. I saw that the market was starting to recover, so I didn't want to look towards anything going below. So as far as this break, I didn't really want to look to go lower. Which I'm glad I didn't because my prediction was correct and the market did start, or Palantir did start to recover with the market. So we come over here and we have a break of my range, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. We didn't have quite a retest because it comes down over here and we come to a retest zone, but it's not a touch on the retest, but that's okay. It did come back into the zone. So from here, I'm looking to buy in. So I want to give myself a little confirmation, meaning I want to see the next couple candles to see how they're playing out. And we got boom, boom, and both of those guys are green. So I kind of had an idea that we were going to continue going upward, especially when Palantir was reacting the same way the market was, which was going up. So I went ahead and jumped in right at this candle, and I'm kind of glad I did because we got this huge candle, which almost was the whole trade itself. Right here, because we would have taken profits right at the end of this green and we're selling with a loss at the bottom of this red. So notice how this candle went all the way almost to the top to go ahead and give us our full profit, but it didn't go all the way there. So I waited and we did get this candle, which got right there towards the top. And to be honest, I really should have taken profit right there. The fact that I didn't is just pure self-greediness, which is something that I'm always working on. But as far as not taking profit right here, we did start to retrace down, and it came down back to my entry, meaning I was 0 on the trade. I had no loss, but no profit. And then it started to come back up to my favor, and this was almost a second chance. See, I should have taken profit right here again, nevertheless, just because it was close enough. I wasn't even planning to trade this day. However, I didn't, and we got another retracement. But this retracement was a lot worse, and it went past my break even down into my stop loss area, so I did end up losing for the day. However, even though I lost for the day, it is okay because I know that I predicted the market correctly, so that's a win, as well as I practiced risk management, which is the biggest win. Because when I first started this journey, risk management was the biggest detriment to me. It was the reason why I had my biggest losers every time. And essentially, I want to go ahead and practice risk management with you guys so you guys can see the importance of it. So the reason why it's important is because I would be willing to take this loss at only a $39 loss, because most of my wins, or actually almost all my wins, will outweigh that loss. So even though we took a loss on the day, doesn't mean we have to be green on the week. So I didn't mind taking this loss. So we did take a loss right here for $39, as you can see in the bottom left corner. But you know what's funny? It's almost ironic. Excuse me. It's almost ironic, but always happens to me. But it's funny how, notice how this next candle is green. And if I would have just waited one more minute, because all these candles are by the 1 minute. So 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. So this whole area is 5 minutes. So 5 candles is 5 minutes. 1 candle is 1 minute. So if I would have just waited 1 minute, notice how we have this green candle here. That would have been enough for me to go ahead and just keep watching to see what the next candle is going to be. And notice how the next candle is green. And it's a pretty decently sized green candle. Then following after that, we have another decently green sized candle. So I would have stayed in the trade because it would have gone past my break even. And notice how if you look right here, it essentially got to my profit zone and I would have won that trade. But see, I'm also practicing risk management and I want to show the importance of it. So I'm willing to lose $39 on this trade because I know that a lot of my wins will outweigh it. So at the end of the day, if I lose on a trade like this, such a small amount, I could always look towards the next day to make that back, meaning I won't be red on the week just from this one trade. Not just that, it can get worse if you don't practice risk management and you go ahead and see that you got stopped out, but go, oh, there might be a reversal. There might be a reversal. A lot of the times it just continues going downward and you lose a lot more money than you're expecting to, which has happened to me countless amount of times. So I'm making sure on this challenge to not do that so I can show the importance of it. But essentially, that's going to go ahead and be my trade for the first trade, being Palantir of the week, of week 2. I know that right here in the bottom left it says week 3, but there was a week where I didn't trade because I was really sick. But this is going to be the week 2 as well as the ending of the first trade. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the second trade. All right, so for this trade, we went ahead and traded Advanced Micro Devices, which is also known as AMD. And the first thing that we do is we go ahead and range out our range. And like I said, we're looking for either a break above or a break below. And we got a break above. And luckily we didn't need a retest right here, because if you look, there's 3 different fair value gaps. You got one right here, one right here, and one right here. And with the fair value gaps, because they weren't retested, essentially it's confirming and respecting those fair value gaps, and you could assume that momentum is going to continue going higher, which it did, which is why we have this big play right here of just green candles, essentially just big buying volume. And because of that, I knew I was going to jump into a trade. So I went ahead and jumped in on this candle right here. And when I jumped in, I figured we were going to have a correction pretty soon, because when you have a run of momentum like this, you usually have some sort of correction coming right after. So that's why my stop loss, rather than it being on the candle right before, which is usually this one right here, I went ahead and put it down to the candle right before on the bottom of this candle. And like I said, reason 4 is because I knew that there was going to be a correction of some sort coming, especially when I saw this red candle immediately after I entered. I knew that the correction was going to be right here. So we got a correction, but notice how we have pretty high buying volume right here. I know you can't see it. Let me get my mouse out of the way. But those green candles, that next line of green candles that go onward higher, those are also creating fair value gaps, and they didn't get tested or anything. So you could assume momentum is going to continue going higher. So that allowed me to understand that we're going to continue going higher with this trend. It's going to continue and maintain being bullish. With that, we also, if you can tell, creating higher highs and higher lows. And whenever you have higher highs and higher lows, that means it's the momentum is gonna continue trending upward. So with that, I knew that we were gonna have a upward trending day. So when I jumped in and we had that correction, I wasn't too scared because this was already expected. And then we had buying pressure right here, which confirmed that we were gonna have higher highs and higher lows. And then I knew this red candle was going to come because, like I said, you can't have a big run without some sort of big red candle or tons of little red candles. So we had a little correction right here, but notice how these 3 candles maintain this line right here. They don't go below, they touch it and then continue upward. Well, this is going to be a support level, and with that, it was respected. So I figured we were going to continue going higher from that as well. So there was lots of confluences that allowed me to believe that this was going to be continuing bullish, in a bullish trend, I should say, which we do have right here. It does continue going green. We have some consolidation right here, but that's to be expected when you have run-ups like this. It is to be expected. And luckily right here towards the very end of consolidation, you usually have a break towards one way or the other, and our break was going to be higher. And the reason why I figured it was going to be higher was, like I said, because of the higher highs and the higher lows, which shows that trend is pushing forwards and upwards. So we did get this big green candle, which I was able to take profit at. And to be honest, this trade was pretty textbook. There wasn't really much to it. It was all, what really made me have this confirmation so strongly was, like I said, a mixture of higher highs, higher lows. The whole time too, this trend, all these greens, all maintained above the 9 EMA as well as the 21 EMA, as well as buying volume was there. So the volume maintaining above 9 EMA as well as 21 EMA, and the higher highs and higher lows all came together to show me that we were going to continue trending higher, which is why I felt so comfortable jumping into this trade in general. But because this was such a textbook play, there wasn't really much to go over. Next week, I will be putting out a recap video as well for my next week's trade, so make sure to tune in for that. But till then, you guys have a nice rest of your day. Make sure to like and subscribe because it really does help out. But till then, we'll see you guys on the next one.